Welcome, Entrepreneur Nation, to the Entrepreneur Unplugged. I'm your host, Rolando Castro. On today's show, we have someone who clearly defines the word hustle. Her name is Bridgette Martinez, mother of two, entrepreneur, and owner of her own farmers insurance agency. Entrepreneur Nation, together let's welcome Bridgette Martinez. Bridgette, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rolando. Thank you for having me.
No, it's
Such
an honor. Yeah. No. Hey, we both said the same thing, right?
Yeah, we did.
So, Bridgette, if the nation who doesn't know you yet, let them know who you are.
Wow, let them know who I am. Well, first of all, I am a mother. That is my main priority. But I'm also a businesswoman who I love taking pride in that, and I love saying that because I feel like nowadays there is no obstacles for women. If whatever you set your mind to do, you can definitely accomplish it if you want to.
Right.
And I believe that my mom instilled that in me. Since I was a little girl, my mom always said to me, you know, Bridgette, if you want to do something, make sure that you want to do it and you'll find a way to do it. There'll be no excuses.
That's great.
And I grew up with that, you know, always in the back of my mind. It was always like, Bridgette, if you want to do it, you're going to do it. You're going to find a way. So I don't believe in giving up. I don't believe in quitting. My philosophy for myself has always been, even if you're crawling, you're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And you're going to dust yourself off and you're going to keep going until you reach the finish line.
Wow.
So that's something I live by every day. You know, I think of my kids, you know, every morning, and that's my inspiration. My children, I get up and I say, okay, that's my focus. This is why I'm doing it.
That's your why.
That is my why, you know, but besides my why, I want to make sure that my kids understand that it takes sacrifice.
Yeah.
That it takes, you know, long hours, because there's times that I can't be at that game, or I couldn't be at my daughter's cheerleading game, and, you know, but I'm out there working for us. You know, I'm doing something for us. I'm doing something so you can, you know, reap what I'm sowing.
Yeah.
For you. And so I think my kids have a full understanding of that. You know, I have a very supportive husband that, you know, just lets me be.
Yeah.
And says, run with it, do it. And he doesn't hold me back, even if I'm going to make a mistake. So he's like, do it. And if you fall, I'll be here to pick you up.
That's beautiful.
So, you know, I'm very grateful for that, because not too many people have that, you know, and he's not, he doesn't feel inferior to the fact that, you know, he's letting his wife shine and do what she has to do, because, you know, he's my partner. He may be my silent partner, but, you know, if I need him, he's there. You know, my children see that, and we're building something for our children.
Wow.
You know, basically. So, you know, I have an 18-year-old daughter. And so I look at her and I say, if you want to be somebody, you know, you go out there and you do what you want to be. There's no one that can stop you but yourself. You know, and that's, again, it goes back to what my mom has taught me. My father, you know, he's always believed in me, always said, you know, Bridgette, you're a leader, without me wanting to lead, or, you know, I don't consider myself a leader, but I do consider myself.
You are a leader because you have two kids, right?
Well,
you lead
yeah,
them.
I do lead them. Yes.
You do.
But, you know, in the sense that, you know, I just believe that, you know, I was given like this gift from God, you know, just to fight, you know, and I've never wanted to be anything less than a fighter, you know, so that's my strength, where I get my strength. You know, it's just, I have so many different sources. I have, you know, my parents who, you know, instilled in me never to give up. My dad was like, man, he was like, you know, Bridgette, you want to be somebody, huh, mija? He would always tell me, you know, in Spanish, you know, like, you know, you're a leader, mija, like, you know, and I would be like, really, Dad? You know, but my mom said,
leading?
who am I leading, Dad? But, you know, I guess your parents see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And, you know, as a little girl, I remember always, you know, and may sound silly, but I always wanted to be famous. I really did. I always envisioned myself like, you know, on platforms or something, you know, I really, you know, just wanted to be somebody, and I feel like I'm somebody. You know, I do.
Are somebody, believe me.
You know,
That's why you're here.
Thank you. You know, I do feel like I'm somebody. I feel like, you know what, I have a huge responsibility teaching my children, especially my daughter, you know, because, you know, women, to be a business owner, And to be a woman business owner, it's so difficult. It's main businesses are dominated by men.
Yeah.
Society, now allows women to do so many things. There's still that stigma is you're a woman. Slow down, get in your place.
Yeah.
And my mindset is not that at all. And I did not grow up in a household that was the mindset either. So, like I said, going back to my parents, it was just instilled in me, be who you want to be. Doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. It was just, you're going to do what you want to do in life, and you're the only person that can stop you. So that's been always my mindset, and it's funny. It's not something that you're thinking about all the time, like constantly saying those words to yourself, but it's instilled in you.
Well, they've been engraved into who you are.
So it's in my spirit.
Yeah.
So I know, who I am. And like I said, it goes back to not being a quitter. I honestly can say I am not a quitter. It's something that I constantly tell myself.
If you quit, your parents won't be happy, right?
Yeah, I think my parents would, still to this day, I'm 40 years old, and I think my parents would be like, ring, make that phone call, like, what the hell are you doing, Bridgette? Like, get your ass up and do something. This is not you, and it wouldn't be me to just quit.
Wow, that is quite the intro.
Oh,
I think if we were to end this show here, I think the Entrepreneur Nation would get so much information, because what I got out of that was that, don't be a quitter, no matter how tough things get, right?
Yeah.
But let's go to your business, right? You've been in business for 9 years, correct?
Yes.
Your own farmer's insurance?
Yes.
Take us into your humble beginnings, the struggles you faced when you were launching Bridgette Martinez Farmers Agency.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started when the housing market crashed back in 2007.
Perfect time to start.
Yeah,
right?
So I had no idea what starting a business was. I had an accounting background, and I worked at a law firm for many years. And I had an acquaintance that said, hey, you know what, why don't you come over and come to the mortgage business? But I honestly didn't know anything about mortgages. It wasn't my calling, and there's just something about insurance that I was like, oh, that seems interesting yet boring, but like somewhat relative to accounting in some kind of way. It's, very detailed. So I thought, this is me. So when I first got licensed, I only went for my life license. I did not go for my property and casualty. And I met someone, a friend of mine, and he said, oh, Bridgette, I have a friend who's a district manager for farmers. Why don't you come meet with them? And, I was interviewed, and, they do a background check. They do all kinds of checks on you. And the guy's like, you know what? You're perfect. I think you have a great personality. I've never sold anything at that point. I've never been interested in sales, nothing. So I was like, okay, so how does he know that I'm good, right? So he said, but I need you to get your property and casualty license. And I said, okay, great.
How do I do that?
Yeah, so I said, okay, I'll just go finish, another week of schooling. Not a problem. Thankfully, I passed my exams, the first time, both. So I was able to start right away. And when I started, I thought, oh, insurance.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, everyone needs insurance. This is so easy.
That wasn't it. It was back then when it wasn't, because now it's, you don't have it, you get cited for it, right?
Yeah.
Back then you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. No, back then the laws, you didn't have to.
The laws were a little more flexible in regards to it being mandatory.
Yeah, exactly. The auto insurance part of it. So, I remember having to cold call.
Cold calling. His salesman's favorite thing to do.
That like click, not interested. Nope. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm more of a person to person. I like, looking at you, feeling you out, analyzing you, and see what you're about, and how we're going to connect. And so my district manager said, you know what? The phones are not for you. Let's go out in the field. Let's go out networking. And he is, my district manager is 5 years younger than me, and was earning probably about $50,000 a month at that time. Yeah.
$50,000 a month. Wow.
Had his home like built, invited us, and said, this could be you, right? So I I'm 40 now. So back then I was like, oh my God, okay, you know, I want this, you know, I want this for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know what, this is in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, did it come
Reality.
to me like, you know, it just hit me. It was very hard. You know, I didn't realize that, you know, people really cared about what they paid for insurance. And then I started to realize people weren't educated
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to their insurance. So I started out by visiting property management companies. And I started writing a lot of renters insurance. So from there, it escalated that I was working with property management companies. I would start writing the renters insurance. And that was 2-3 years in. And, you know, obviously that wasn't cutting it because it's just not enough. So I was like, oh my God, I wanted to quit. I was like, no, I need to go get a job. You know, I can't, this is not working for me and my family.
So 2-3 years in, you weren't making enough revenue where you were.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
Absolutely
making a profit, right? I mean, that's just, you know what, I'm able to make some money off of it. So what kept you on as an agent? I mean, I think, you know, 9 out of 10 people after 2-3 years not making money or making enough money where it could be a career, was, you know, this is not for me. I mean, what kept you?
I wasn't going to quit.
You're not a quitter, right?
No.
I think I walked into that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to quit. I was like, there's no way that I got licensed, that I spent money to get licensed, and that I'm going to look at my kids and my husband and say, you know what? No, I'm sorry, this didn't work out. You know, mommy's going to go get a job and, you know, we'll take it from there. Because that would have been easy for me to do.
Yeah.
And it would have been the right thing to do at that time, too, because the recession was so hard, you know. But again, having the husband that I have and said, you know what, just do what you need to do, you know. And it was tough. It's tough. It was tough financially. You know, at that time, we lost our home. We lost our cars. We lost everything. And it's very humbling because when you lose everything, you realize, okay, yeah, you know what? It was like, oh my God, you know, we just lost everything. That's cause for a divorce. But I have a very strong husband. So he's just said, you know what? It's material stuff. I'm not going to say that he was just like, oh, okay, let's laugh it off. No. It was hard. It was hard for both of us. And it was a lesson for me as well, you know, because besides humbling you, you learn what's important. Yeah. So 3 years after that, I said, my husband got a job out in the city of Downey and with a property management company. And so when we moved out here, I happened to get on social media, Facebook. And, you know, one of my friends, personal friends, was a friend with a realtor. And I guess my profile said, you know, farmers. I don't even remember at the time, but it said farmers. And he reached out to me and said, hey, I need a quote. Can you come meet me? And I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, you know, I'm like, okay. So I went out and met with him. And he was like, hey, do you network with realtors? And I said, no. That had never, ever dawned on me, you know, to go and speak to realtors, to go and speak to lenders, or let alone speak to anybody than just, you know, a regular consumer. Yeah. So he's like, you're not marketing yourself that way? And I'm like, no. I looked at him like he was crazy. Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not. And he's like, you know what? You need to. And I remember that I was like, okay, thanks. You know, he's like, you know what? He gave me a little bit of tips. He's like, make sure you go in and you smile and just be you. He's like, you have a great personality, you know, and that was the second time I heard that. And you know what, when you look at yourself, like, you know, I always say to myself the things that I need to work on, but I obviously don't look at the positive things about myself. Yeah. So I said, okay. So I got on Facebook, started reaching out to realtors, started scheduling meetings, and
at this point, did you have your own agency, or you were?
Yeah, I had my own agency from the beginning. You become an agency owner from the beginning. After your 6 months, if you don't make it, if you don't meet your initial quota, which is a requirement, your contract requirement with farmers, you are cut.
So right off the bat, you have an overhead.
Yes. So right off the back, you have an overhead. So you have an overhead. You have to market yourself. You know, of course, farmers helps you. You know, they'll help you, but it's a loan. So you know they finance you, but you have to meet your contract requirements in order not to pay back that loan. Wow. So, you know, yeah. So you have to work.
So talk about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I mean, you're out there with, you know, you got to pay the light, you got to pay
Exactly.
insurance, right? You
Yeah,
gotta.
you got to pay
I don't know if you
everything.
have payroll then, but you gotta pay all the
No payroll.
all the stuff that you literally were like, wait a minute, what's all these bills as a business owner? So I mean, even maybe even doing your own your taxes must have
Yeah.
been something you're not used to. So I mean, talk about being thrown to the
Like
jungle.
I
Say,
said, it
here,
was
go hunt.
extremely difficult. Um, but after Facebook and after, getting a tip from someone that, didn't have to give me a tip, didn't have to say, hey, you know what, you should do this. I ran with it. And my business has grown every year through Facebook, just through Facebook. About 20 to 25%.
Well, we
each
met
year.
on Facebook.
Yeah, we did. We met
Yeah,
on. Did
we
we
met
meet
on
on
Facebook.
Facebook?
I believe so. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it was through Facebook.
Yeah.
Then we became friends. We had a mutual friend, and then we met networking.
Yeah. Then we met
And then
networking.
here we are.
Yeah.
Well, happy for you. You grew your business 20-30%. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the power of social media. If you know how to use it, just incredible. I was
Yeah.
able to grow my business a lot by social media, but it's nothing beats the art of networking and meeting people.
The
so
art
take
of contact.
The art of contact, right?
Yeah.
So take us into how your mind shifted from saying, you know what, business to consumers is great, but I think my niche market is business to business. But how was it adjusting your mindset from B2C to B2B?
It was very difficult because it's very intimidating. And, I was very afraid of rejection. I was afraid, my ego was afraid to get bruised. And, so you want to be tough I wanted to be tough and like, you know what? I don't need you.
I'm not a quitter.
Yeah. No, I was like, I don't need you next,
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that certain people were, tough with me and were like, no, because it gives you more layers of skin that you need for business, because you can't take it personal. You really can't. You need to see the why behind it, and you have to. I am a firm believer that, whether you believe in God or the universe, I happen to believe in God, that everything's aligned for me. So I believe that whatever I speak into existence, that whatever is meant for me is for me. So I started walking in that mindset. So I started saying, whoever I'm going to meet, they are going to be aligned with my business and they're going to want to work with me, and it gradually started happening like that. And, you have your ups and downs again, because you still get those no's, you still get those people that don't want to work with you for whatever reason. I think in a world that is made up of energy, it's so important to realize that energy that you are connecting with, that other person, that you gravitate to, because not all business is good business.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that. So that was the shift of my mindset. Even after the growth, my growth has been knowing that sometimes you have to lose a battle to win a war. And by war, I mean your own personal business wars, to say, you know what, this is my goal for my business. Because we all have different perceptions of what we want our business to look like, or what success is, to each and every one of us.
Course.
So, my personal, perception of business and being a successful business owner is having successful relationships, long-lasting relationships. I'd rather have quality than quantity, and I've had to learn that again the hard way. Because at first you're so eager because you have to feed your family.
Well, of course, in the beginning, any business is good business, right? But you get to a point where you know what you're worth, you know what you could do as a business owner, and you start picking and choosing who you want to work with. And sometimes you have to even fire clients.
Yeah,
right?
You do. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm not a good match for you. So that's one of the things that has kept me afloat. Despite the recession, and when I started my business to now, is the mindset, the changes that you go through, because my aspiration has always been to grow and learn. And one of the things that I always say to myself, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room with a group. I want to learn. I'm a sponge. So if I'm not learning from you, unfortunately, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
Because I see no purpose. I need to learn. I just need to learn. I want to be molded into a successful person, and success not only in my business, but personal life, physically, emotionally. All those things create who you are and, contribute to your business. So if you lack somewhere, you're going to lack somewhere in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my mentality about that.
So now we're on the subject of mentality.
Okay.
I want to touch on a very sensitive subject, if I may, because you and I share that, and a lot of people do as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you lost your sister.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
I lost her February 13th of 2013.
So just 2 years ago.
Almost 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, I lost my brother in 2006. I wasn't in business yet, but it affected me emotionally where I didn't care about anything. But you as a business owner, obviously you had your business.
Mm-hmm.
You were experiencing growth, which means a lot of people were looking for you for business.
Yes.
That time when your sister passed away, how did that affect your business, or even more so your mindset in regards to having to deal with the loss of a loved one and still having to be that business owner because business can't seem to wait? How do you emotionally handle both?
Well, I have to be totally transparent right now. It was very hard. It was a shocker to lose her, and I've never lost anyone, of value to me that was my blood. So it was hard. It was hard. It emotionally, you're numb.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember not being able to function for a whole month.
Wow.
I was not able to function. I remember having a great friend who's a farmer's agent, and he said, "Bridgette, just forward all your calls to me and do everything." But even though he offered that, I had to pick up my phone because that's just who I am at the end of the day, and when I was picking up the phone, and my clients who, you build rapport with, would hear my voice and there's something wrong, and and I shared with them what just transpired. So I would say, I'm sorry if I sound cloudy, or if I would just start crying, because it was just so emotional. They would understand. And I think that it just, with a lot of my clients that I connected with me during that time, gave us a little bit of a stronger bond. I remember I have a client who is the captain of the Torrance fire, one of the firehouses in Torrance, and he had called me, and I picked up, knowing that it was him. And I remember saying, "Hi, Captain Dwayne, how are you?" And he's like, "Great." And he's like, "Bridgette, how are you?" And I said, "Oh, not too good." And I stood quiet because, of course, I started sobbing. And he said, "Hello, like, are you okay?"
Yeah, are you there? Yeah.
And I said, "I'm really sorry." I said, "You called me." I said, "My sister just passed away." And he said, "Oh my God." I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay. It's okay.
And when he called, he said, "You know what, let me pull over." And I said, "Okay." I was like, "Why is he pulling over?" But okay.
Yeah.
I'm the one crying.
Right,
why is he pulling over? And he said, "Let me pray for you."
Wow.
And so I was like, that was weird because, people don't ever really put their emotions. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah,
or,
I'm sorry.
I'll
let you be.
Yeah, I'll let
Out
you
of
be.
respect,
I'll call
maybe
you.
they
Yeah.
don't know how you're feeling.
So, he prayed for me, and he's like, "Bridgette, everything's going to be okay." And I said, "Thank you." And I remember feeling like, "Oh my God, this is my client. He must think I'm so weird. He's going to totally transfer his, policies." And, at that time, that was my initial thought, right? But then, you don't worry about it because you're going through your pain.
Yeah.
So I remember I received a card from him a few weeks later, and he said, "I just want you to know that you're the best agent out there. I can't believe you picked up your phone. Who does that?" And I was like, he made me feel so much better, and and I attribute, again, my success to the alignment that God has, even with my customers. I'll be honest, about a month into it, because, I would answer my phones, like I said, but, I was in bed. I didn't want to get out. And I remember one day just having to meditate and having to, to pray and just say, you know what? I don't think my sister would want this for me.
Yeah.
And I think you and I met. I think we met.
I think that's how we
we connected. And I remember that when we met, you shared your story with me, and we connected right away with it. And I just had a sense of, I can't give up. This is not what my sister would want for me. She would want me to continue going, because there comes a sense of hopelessness where you just don't want to go on, but then of course I looked at my children, I looked at my husband, and even though you're numb, you're like, okay, I gotta fight. There's just something in me. And, who taught me how to fight during that time was my mother, because she was just like, we got to continue living. And, it was hard to see my parents just kind of break down and losing their youngest daughter, right? And but my parents, man, they have like this supernatural power, and then you cannot be weak when someone's, giving you that strength, that energy, like, you know what, we're gonna write this out, and the pain's never gonna go away. I remember my little brother saying to me, it's never going to go away, but
it never does.
No, it never does. Because even to this day, it still hurts just the same. You just learn to cope with it a little bit better.
You get used to the pain. Yeah.
And I remember when I went back to work, I remember commenting on Facebook, or putting up a post rather, that said, I'm going to kick ass for my sister, this year. And despite me not working for a month, being that you're commission based, because no one's giving you a paycheck, and no one's saying, oh, here you go. You want to take sick days, or you want to take a month off of family leave, that's fine,
Go ahead. Yeah, you're not
going to get paid for it. You're not going to get paid. I was, so blessed. My business was so blessed that year, and I kept going, and I kept fighting, and I met new people, and I met, I networked more, and it just, you keep going.
Yeah, I think if you're genuinely a good person and really see your business as you're providing value to your customers, your referral partners, which we have many, when something like this happens, people support you because they care about you. And you're not always about business. You're a real person with real feelings. So I think the way you conduct your business, the way you operate, when you put people before profits, you get support like you did.
Yes,
right?
Yes. And which, your statement just takes me back to when we had to, have my sister's services. A lot of my agents came out, and I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, like I said, I had customers calling me, sending me cards, giving me prayers, sending flowers. I was like, does this really happen? You don't really think about it in that moment, but the aftermath, is when it dawned on me. Wow, was that agent really there? Did they sit with my family? And it's kind of crazy because I've always been a firm believer of it's not just about the sale. It can be, and it is for some.
But it has to be at some point, right? Because you do have to pay your bills. But...
Yeah, it is. But that sale will come if you're building a relationship with people and you're showing them the value. And not just a quick sale and then, you know what, okay, but next buy, I've never been about that. I've always been, everybody that is in my circle or in my life or a referral partner, it has to be about a relationship. There has to be some type of connect. And those are the things that increase your business, throughout the years. And maybe that sale's not going to come within that minute or a week later or a month later. But you know what? They'll remember you.
You planted a seed.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what? She was so awesome, or he was so awesome, oh my God, they did this, they took the time. It wasn't rushed. They weren't rushing me. And I've been successful because of that.
Yeah. You're genuine. You're transparent. You're You're
I'd
who
like to
you
believe
are.
so. Yeah.
You're who you're the businesswoman, and then for sure you're at the market. You're the same. You'll say hi the same way. You're the same person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to, believe that I am. I guess I could be, pretentious and act like I don't need people, or, that, I got it like that, but I don't. I have to get up. I always say to myself and to my children, especially my daughter, I say to her, you know what, did our butler come in? And she'll be like, what are you talking about? You're so weird, Mom. And I'm like, did he come in?
Yeah.
No, Mom, what are you talking about? Exactly. So we need to get up and go to work. Wake up with that enthusiasm, because you know what? Until I have that financial security where, you know what, I don't have to go, it's about building the relationships for your business, because if you want to build an empire, it's not going to be built, from one day to the next.
Yeah, as I say, the wrong wasn't built in one day, right?
It was
And
not.
entrepreneurship is not something that you are, right? Something you do day in and day out. As an entrepreneur, there's days where you wake up, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to work. Business is not great. Maybe you had something went wrong in your business. You think, well, I just want to stay under the covers for a day.
Yeah.
And sometimes myself, I just plug myself out and go do something that has nothing to do with my business, because I need time to just kind of recollect myself and really see, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And then you have the moment you say, yes, I do.
Yeah.
You have the moment you don't want to.
Exactly. Yeah. I sometimes just have those days where I'm like, you know what?
Screw it, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm so, where's my drink? Or please don't get in my way because I don't want to punch you, But that's the emotional roller coaster of having a business and not having, if it was easy, if it was, you know what, here it is, here's your pot of gold, then everybody would do it. And it's not for everybody.
No.
And I definitely have to say that I never thought that I would be here in this place now in my life saying I was a businesswoman. But I love it. I just love everything about it.
I'm pretty sure you're inspiring somebody watching Entrepreneur Nation. Just, you know what, I want to be like her. I'm going through what she's going through. I lost a family member, a loved one, and I don't know how to recover from it. So what advice can you give that entrepreneur woman that maybe has a vision, has a goal, that wants to be an entrepreneur, maybe wants to open the next flower shop, wants to be the next businesswoman, but maybe feels that maybe they don't have support, maybe somebody doesn't believe in them, or maybe they lost someone that they just can't get over that pain? What advice can you give that entrepreneur?
My advice is, you don't need a cheerleader. You don't need a cheerleading team behind you. If there is something inside of you, because there is, I believe that there's something inside of us that just doesn't let us be, that, that your stomach gets butterflies, you can't sleep at night, because you're thinking, you get these visions, and, you're visualizing your life doing whatever it is that you love to do.
Looking back at the start of your career, up until now, what's the biggest lesson you've learned?
Oh, God. Do I just give one answer for this lesson?
As many as you have.
What's my biggest lesson? I think my biggest lesson, again, would be not to take things personal, and to know that, you know what, it's business. That's it. At the end of the day, it's business. And you lose some, you win some. And that's the name of the game. And, as you continue to go, you continue to learn, because when you take things personally, unfortunately, you're damaging yourself and you're stopping yourself from growth. And if I would have known this 8 years ago when people were closing their doors on me or telling me no, or, and, I had a bad attitude towards that person or whatever, it's not beneficial for me or my business, and you just need to be thankful for every experience through your business.
Wow.
So that
awesome. Incredible. How has support from your family, especially your husband? It sounds like you have an amazing husband.
He's all right.
I have to be modest. How has that support helped you as an entrepreneur?
It's helped me a lot, because, again, the role of a woman is to do what? To, be at home, cook, clean, housewife, take care of your kids. But since I became a mother, you know, my husband has always shared responsibilities with me. So it's never been myself in anything. He has always been very hands-on. And when I decided to start my business, you know, he was very proud. He was very proud, you know, that this, you know, his wife wanted to do something that seemed impossible, you know, and he's always just said, you know, I'm here. That's all, honestly, that's all he does. He doesn't, I give him my ideas. I tell him, look, this is what I want to do. Whether he agrees or not, he'll, you know, as a spouse, you know, spouses, we tend to give that look like, all right. So, you know, he gives me that look like, okay, you know, you're going to do what you're going to want to do anyways. But he's always just said, you can do it. And when I've doubted myself, when I said, you know what, why am I doing this? I could just, you know, I have an accounting background. I could just go get a job. And, you know, he's always said, really? You're going to cut yourself short? And, you know, he adds some other verbiage in there. And I said, you know what, you're right. That's bullshit. Really, that's not me.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you come along so much. I mean, why?
I know.
There's moments though you do want to just say, "Well, I'm done."
You know, there's a moment where I was like, "Can I just get a regular paycheck?"
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah.
You know, but he doesn't let me quit, even when I want to quit. You know, he doesn't say too much, and I think that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes his silence was what's more impactful in my life than him, you know, being in my ear saying, you know what I mean? So
I think he's maybe just observing and letting you be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so that's that. He's it. He's it. You know, he's honestly, when I have to work late at night, when I can't cook, or you know, I'm not as domestic as I should be. You know, because you can't. Personally speaking, I don't feel that you can do all.
Yeah.
You know, again, you're gonna lack somewhere. So, he doesn't mind it. You know, he doesn't mind it. He knows that I'm going to do what I have to do. And, you know, when I came home, I take care of my family because they are my number one priority.
Yeah. So how do you challenge yourself?
How I challenge myself is I hate feeling stagnant. You know, I hate feeling like I'm in the same place every day, you know, so I have to better myself, you know, and again, surround myself with people that are better than me, you know, and in the areas that I want to grow in, you know, not that they're better than me, you know, and, you know, just what we would think finance and, you know, oh, house or no. I like to be around people that just can attribute to my life and I could, you know, learn from them. And the challenge is, you know, how can I grow into that person? How can I be better for my business, my family, my community? You know, that those are so important to me. You know, to be able to give back and to be involved, and you know, it's a constant challenge. And I believe that if you're not growing every day, not growth every year, and not growing every day, then you're
Are you a big reader?
Dead. I am.
What's your favorite book?
The 4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been one of my favorite because, you know, it teaches you not to assume. You know, it teaches you a lot. And, you know, it's so hard to read though when you're tired, I have to say.
Yeah. There's some times
you know, I'm like,
okay,
my head's bobbing and I'm like, I don't want to read.
But it's important for you to read.
It is.
You have to feed your mind.
Exactly.
You have to.
Just like we feed our bodies, you know,
muscles,
we have to, you have to feed your mind and got to take care of your health. And, you know, but definitely I like to read. I've always been a reader. And, you know, I'm not a big follower of, you know, coaches, you know, I've never been, because I think everybody's a coach in their own way.
I think mentors are, I have mentors. I don't really have coaches.
Yeah, I have a couple of mentors too. I would learn from somebody who's
older than me.
Yes, yes, I have a couple of mentors as well. You know, people that, you know, are transparent, and you know, being a mentor, people misinterpret that you have to be perfect. That's not what it's about. You know, and I'm lucky. I have 2 gentlemen in my life that, you know, they're business owners as well, and that just do not take it easy on me. Are not afraid to tell me how it is, and I love that.
Put you back in order.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm like, did you just say that to me? I'm like, yeah, I did.
That's for a reason. You're
yeah.
slacking out, right?
So, I love it because it makes you look at yourself, and it makes you kind of like, okay, yeah, he has a point.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, again, I've just been very lucky with that.
Great. Well, Bridgette, unfortunately, our good things must come to an end. We're towards the end of our show. You did great.
Thank you.
But here we go into the unplug round.
Okay.
All right. You can't hold anything back.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm not.
If you could talk to a 20-year-old self again, what advice would you give her?
My 20-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
My 20-year-old self.
Mm-hmm. You got 20-year-old Bridgette getting started in business.
I'm trying to think where
What
I
advice?
was when I was 20. I would say don't be a follower.
Don't be a follower. Be a leader.
Be a leader.
Mm.
I was never a cool kid. I was actually the type of nerd. So I always wanted to be that cool bad girl kind of image. And, it was never me. It was never me. So, but I tried really hard. And, I think I just wasted time and energy, and I, those are life lessons though. But honestly, I would tell myself, lead, go, don't follow.
Yeah. What are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for my family, for my health.
Great.
That's it. That's my number one.
How do you define Bridgette Martinez?
Bridgette Martinez. I'm not going to speak it like a third person, but I think I'm a badass. I really am a badass.
Sounds like you are after all you went through.
I honestly believe that I'm a badass, and I do kind of just when I'm bumping my Tupac in my car. No, just
I think
I really am.
I think everybody has to think of themselves as a badass, not in a way where you're better than other people.
Yeah,
but you yourself, who you are in your own skin, feel comfortable to say, you know what, I'm a badass. I've been through some shit, and I'm pulling through.
Exactly.
And most people can't, are afraid to say that.
Yeah, no, I love me. I really love me. I accept me for who I am, the woman that I become. I love that I'm 40. I love that, I don't meet, society standards, and I like breaking the rules, and I'm living life at my terms, and I love that.
That's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Bridgette, thank you very much for being here. I wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you so much.
Entrepreneur Nation, like I always say, Bridgette, if our meeting here can help one person, then others was a success. Remember, Nation, success is a choice. On to the next one. Thank you.